Your basement floods. Your freezer dies. The power's been out for 3 days, and everything you bought at Costco last month is rotting in your garage. The ancient Egyptians? They stored grain for 7 years. No electricity, no refrigerators, no vacuum sealers. Just clay, sand, and engineering that makes your $400 chest freezer look like a joke. Here's what pisses me off. We act like food storage is this modern, complicated thing that requires a PhD and a Home Depot credit card. Meanwhile, people 4,000 years ago were preserving food in ways that would survive longer than your marriage. So let's stop pretending Target has the answers and learn from people who actually had to get it right or starve. Why Egyptians had to master storage. The Nile flooded once a year. That's it. One harvest. One chance to grow enough food to feed your family for 12 months. Screw it up, you're done. But here's the thing. Egypt wasn't just feeding farmers. They were building pyramids, running armies, managing a civilization. They needed food storage that could outlast dynasties. So they developed 7 distinct preservation methods. Not 1, 7. Because unlike us, they didn't have the luxury of driving to Walmart when Plan A failed. The climate helped. Egypt is dry as hell, barely any rain. But climate alone doesn't explain how they stored grain that remained edible for years. That took engineering, chemistry they didn't even have words for, and a level of planning that would make modern preppers look like amateurs. Think about Joseph's dream in Genesis. 7 years of plenty, 7 years of famine. Whether you believe the Bible or not, that story exists because Egyptians actually did this. They built storage systems designed for decade-long timelines. Clay jar humidity control. Egyptian storage jars weren't just containers, they were climate control systems made of dirt. Porous ceramic allows the tiniest amount of air exchange, not enough to let pests in, but enough to prevent the moisture buildup that kills stored food. The jar breathes. Condensation that would rot grain in a modern plastic bucket, the clay absorbs it. They sealed these jars with clay stoppers coated in oil or wax, airtight enough to keep bugs out, porous enough to let excess moisture escape through the ceramic walls. Modern translation? You don't need expensive Mylar bags for everything. Ceramic crocks, $30 to $40, work beautifully for grains if you're in a dry climate. Food-grade clay storage regulates humidity naturally. They're reusable for decades. Your great-grandkids could use them. No plastic degradation, no BPA concerns, no wondering if your buckets are food safe. Where clay jars win? Rice, dried beans, whole grains you'll rotate through in 1 to 2 years. Where they lose is humid climates and anything needing 0 oxygen exposure. Cost comparison? 20 Mylar bags and oxygen absorbers, $30 to $40. Single use. 2 5-gallon ceramic crocks, $60 to $80, last forever. The Egyptian method costs more upfront, but it's a one-time purchase your grandkids will inherit. Artificial cooling technique. No refrigeration, no ice, so how did Egyptians keep food cool? Underground buffering. They dug storage chambers 6 to 8 feet deep where the temperature stayed constant around 60 to 65 degrees Fahrenheit year-round. Surface temp could hit 110 degrees. Underground stayed stable. But they didn't stop there. They used evaporative cooling with wet clay vessels. Water seeps through porous ceramic, evaporates on the surface, drops the internal temperature 15 to 20 degrees. Same principle as those terracotta wine coolers you see at Williams-Sonoma for $80. Modern application? Your basement is probably 60 to 65 degrees right now. You already have Egyptian cold storage, you're just filling it with Christmas decorations and broken furniture. Basement storage, naturally cool, dark, stable temperature, garage corner, dig down 2 to 3 feet, line with gravel for drainage, creates a natural cool room. Closet under stairs, interior space, insulated by surrounding rooms stays cooler than main living areas. Budget version? $0, use your existing basement. $15 to $20, plastic totes with sand for thermal mass. $50 to $100, build a simple insulated cabinet in the coolest corner of your basement. No electricity, no ongoing cost. The Egyptians proved this works for thousands of years. Sun-drying methods. Egyptians sun-dried everything. Fish, meat, vegetables, fruits, even grains to reduce moisture before storage. The desert sun is brutal, 110 degrees plus with 0 humidity. Food dries in hours, not days. Microbes that cause spoilage? They need moisture. Desiccated food is biologically inert. They used woven reed mats elevated on rocks to allow airflow from all sides. Direct sunlight from above, hot air rising from below, constant air movement preventing mold. Food dried evenly without rotting. Modern translation: you don't need a $300 Excalibur dehydrator. You need sun, airflow, and patience. Dehydrator alternative: sun frames with screen material, $10 to $25. DIY setup: window screens propped on bricks in direct sunlight. For humid climates, homemade solar dehydrator using a black painted box and glass, $30 to $50 in materials. What to dry? Tomatoes become flavor bombs for soups. Peppers crush into powder, last years. Herbs better than store-bought. Jerky, obviously. Apple slices, pear slices, kids actually eat these. Cost comparison: electric dehydrator, $150 to $400 plus ongoing electricity cost. Sun drying setup, $10 to $50, zero operating cost, works during power outages. The Egyptians weren't stupid, they used free energy. We should too. Amphora oil protection. This one's genius and nobody talks about it. Egyptians stored certain foods, fish, vegetables, even meats, submerged in oil inside sealed amphoras. The oil creates an anaerobic barrier. No oxygen, no spoilage. The food basically pickles in oil. Olive oil was common, but they also used sesame oil, vegetable oils, whatever was available. The oil itself became infused with flavor and was used for cooking later. Nothing wasted. Modern application? Confit, that fancy French cooking technique? Egyptians did it 3,000 years earlier. Glass oil bottles plus cheap olive oil plus garlic, peppers, herbs. The oil preserves the food and becomes an incredible cooking oil. Lasts for 6 to 12 months at room temperature, longer if refrigerated. No canning equipment needed. What to preserve in oil? Garlic cloves, last 6+ months. Sun-dried tomatoes, intense flavor. Peppers, both fresh and roasted. Herbs like rosemary, thyme, oregano. Cheese, covered in oil and herbs, equals preservation plus flavor. Warning: botulism risk is real with garlic and oil. Add acid, vinegar, or lemon juice, or keep refrigerated. Don't be stupid about food safety. Cost: a few gallons of cheap olive oil preserves an absurd amount of food and creates flavored cooking oils worth their weight in gold. Reed mat airflow tricks. Egyptians never stored food directly on the ground, ever. They used woven reed mats, elevated platforms, anything to create airflow underneath. Ground contact equals moisture, equals mold, equals ruined food. Storage rooms had ventilation holes positioned to create crossbreeze. Hot air rises, cool air flows in from below. Constant circulation prevents stagnation. No fans, no electricity, just physics. Modern translation: passive ventilation, the free upgrade your storage needs. Wire shelving, $40 to $80 instead of wood shelves, air flows through. Plastic pallets, $10 to $20 each, elevate buckets off concrete floors. Ventilation, 2 small holes, one low, one high. Natural convection does the work. Your basement has moisture, your garage sweats. Concrete floors leach dampness into anything touching them. Elevating storage by even 2 to 3 inches makes a massive difference. What this prevents? Rust on metal lids, condensation under buckets, mold on cardboard, musty smell that contaminates food. Cost: 4 plastic pallets, $40 to $80. Wire shelving unit, $60 to $100. DIY approach: 2x4s and concrete blocks, $20 to $40. The Egyptians knew airflow was worth more than any fancy container. They were right. How to recreate each method today. Let's get tactical. Here's your complete Egyptian storage system, scaled for a modern household. Method 1. Ceramic storage. Grains, beans, rice. Buy 2 to 3 food-grade ceramic crocks, 5 to 10 gallons, $60 to $120. Store rice, beans, wheat, oats, pasta. Location: basement corner, coolest spot. Lifespan: 1 to 2 years. Rotate through it. Seal: cloth cover tied tight plus oil or wax on rim. Method 2. Underground cooling. Root vegetables, canned goods. Use existing basement or dig a pit in the garage corner. Line with gravel, drainage, thermal mass. Store potatoes, onions, canned goods, jarred preserves. Temp should stay 55 to 65 degrees Fahrenheit naturally. Cost: $0 to $50 depending on setup. Method 3. sun-drying fruits, vegetables, herbs, and meat. Build screen frames or buy cheap dehydrator. Dry tomatoes, peppers, herbs, jerky, apple slices. Store in glass jars or vacuum sealed if you have it. Rehydrate as needed or use dry. Cost $10 to $50 for DIY setup. Method 4. Oil preservation. Garlic, peppers, herbs, and cheese. Buy a gallon of cheap olive oil, $15 to $20. Submerge garlic, roasted peppers, herbs, and cheese. Add acid, vinegar, or lemon juice for safety. Store glass jars, room temperature, or refrigerate. Use cooking oil becomes incredibly flavorful. Cost $20 to $40 for several months of preserved food. Method 5.
Airflow systems. Everything. Elevate all storage off ground, minimum 2 to 3 inches. Ventilate. 2 holes per storage area, low plus high. Use wire shelving, plastic pallets, anything with gaps. Prevents moisture damage, rust, mold. Cost $40 to $100 for shelving or pallets. Complete system cost. Minimal setup, $50 to $100. Pallets, sun frames, some oil, use what you have. Comprehensive setup, $200 to $300. Ceramic crocks, shelving, better ventilation. Ongoing costs, basically zero. Compare that to a year of freeze-dried food from a prepper company, $3,000 to $5,000. Chest freezer plus electricity for 10 years, $600 to $1,200. Commercial dehydrator, $150 to $400. The Egyptian methods cost less upfront and nothing ongoing. Your great-grandkids could use the same ceramic crocks. Backyard and pantry solutions. You don't need land. You don't need a farm. You need 10 square feet in the willingness to try. Backyard version. Option 1. Buried storage pot. Dig hole 3 feet deep. Place large ceramic pot or crock. Bury with lid at ground level. Stays 55 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit year-round. Cost $30 to $60. Stores root vegetables, sealed jars, anything needing cool temps. Option 2. Solar dehydrator. Black painted box plus glass or plexiglass top plus screen racks. Builds to 140 to 160 degrees in direct sun. Dries food in hours. Cost $30 to $60 in materials. Tutorial: search DIY solar dehydrator. Plans everywhere. Option 3. Elevated drying racks. Window screens on sawhorses. Cover with cheesecloth to keep bugs off. Sun plus airflow equals preserved food. Cost $10 to $20. Pantry version. Apartment, no yard. What you can do with zero outdoor space. Closet under stairs. Coolest interior space. Used for ceramic storage. Kitchen corner. Oil preserved foods in glass jars. Any dark closet. Elevated wire shelving for dry goods. Windowsill. Sun-dry herbs, peppers, tomatoes in makeshift screens. Apartment limitations. Sun-drying is harder, but doable with south-facing window. Underground storage obviously not happening. Focus on oil preservation, ceramic storage, and airflow principles. Cost for apartment setup? $50 to $100. 1 to 2 small ceramic crocks, glass jars for oil preservation, wire shelf or plastic crate for elevation, cheap olive oil. You don't need a homestead. The Egyptians lived in cities too. They made it work in apartments made of mud brick. You can make it work in your rental. Here's what kills me about modern food storage. We've made it so complicated that nobody actually does it. You've got YouTube preppers telling you to spend $10,000 on freeze-dried food that tastes like cardboard. You've got homesteaders saying you need 40 acres and a root cellar. You've got minimalists saying don't store anything because you can just hunt and forage. Meanwhile, the Egyptians fed an empire for thousands of years using clay pots, oil, sunshine, and airflow. No electricity, no plastic, no Amazon Prime. Just engineering, observation, and the understanding that food security isn't optional. You don't need to recreate ancient Egypt in your basement, but you should probably steal their ideas because they worked then and they work now. Your action plan? 1. Elevate everything off the ground today. Costs nothing. Prevents catastrophe. 2. Buy one ceramic crock this month. $30 to $40. Start storing rice or beans. Next sunny weekend, sun-dry something. Tomatoes, peppers, whatever's cheap. 4. Preserve 1 jar of garlic in oil, with vinegar for safety. Start small, build slowly. The Egyptians didn't build the pyramids overnight. You don't need to build your food storage overnight either. But you do need to start, because your freezer will die. The power will go out. Supply chains will fail. And when they do, you'll be glad you learned from people who didn't have the option to fail.